What we're witnessing here is the largest wealth transfer scheme the world has ever seen. It's been going on for quite a long time. This shoveling of wealth right up to the 1% and 2% via this mechanism of easy money, artificially suppressed rates, currency devaluation, which is a wrecking machine for the world economy. You can't have your cake and eat it too. The mechanism here is wiping out the middle class around the entire world, and people are sitting back and doing nothing.
This is Kaiser Johnson with Liberty and Finance, and these are the Miles Franklin Weekly Specials for March 10th through March 17th, 2025, while supplies last. First this week, we feature backdated 1-ounce gold Krugerrand at just $59 over spot. Next, Valcambi silver kilo bars are just $2.20 over spot per ounce. Pre-65 mixed junk silver is just $1.99 over spot, and pre-65 half dollars are just $2.25 over spot. To order our specials or any of the many other options we have available, call us at 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237. We're available after hours and on weekends, and we look forward to speaking with you.
Welcome back to Liberty and Finance. We're always grateful to have this wildly popular returning guest, Gregory Mannarino, the founder of TradersChoice.net, the author of multiple books on the subject, and a trading coach, is here with us again on Liberty and Finance. Greg, thanks for joining us this Thursday, March 13th, 2025.
Thanks for having me, bro. Love your show. Love you. I'm happy to be here.
And you and I were just talking about your shedding of the suit and tie and trying to help get a little bit of relaxation in this madness that we find ourselves. There's a lot of things that are going off the rails, geopolitically, financially, monetarily, etc. Could we first start with the markets? We've seen a lot of volatility in the equity markets, and you see internals in the bond market that are getting you some concern. Let's start with that, and then maybe we can look at some of the other aspects that we just mentioned.
Sure. First of all, with regard to this new look I got, this is my personal rebellion against what's happening here, trying to step out of Babylon just a little bit. And, so that's what's going on here. And that's okay. Look, man, we all have a little coping mechanisms. Let's start off with, it's huge. There's so much happening right now. Clearly, geopolitical issues, instability all over the place here. What I believe is happening here is, unfortunately, the United States is falling off the map in many ways. We're not moving forward. We are going backward. And the world is taking notice here. We have issues with debt, which are insurmountable. You and I have covered this multiple times over the years. Dude, you and I have been at this for a long time. We heard today from our lovely U.S. Treasury Secretary, it's kind of interesting, who's telling us he's blowing off any kind of suggestion that the United States is moving towards a recession. What's the job of the U.S. Treasury Secretary? Let's really boil down to what they're a peddler of U.S. debt. The U.S. Treasury Secretary peddles U.S. debt to the rest of the world. So, of course, you would expect a U.S. Treasury Secretary to tell you how great and rosy everything is because it wants to sell more debt. The world is frankly sick of it, and this Mar-a-Lago Accord, which is this debt restructuring mechanism, is proof again that our debt situation is at a critical mass. Look, man, every way you want to look at it, we got a problem. If you want to focus on a couple of things that I look at all the time, and I've been looking at this a lot as of late, the U.S. dollar on a relative strength basis is a huge, huge tell that we got issues. We've been watching the stock market crater. We're now, the S&P 500 today, as a matter of fact, just entered a correction. So what does this mean? We with regard to geopolitical fallout, if you want to call it that, what's going on here, and the markets, the dollar is sending us a signal that it's irrelevant, an irrelevant dollar. How do we know that? Because we should be seeing the dollar on a relative strength basis or comparative moving higher. We're not seeing this. We're seeing the dollar drop and drop and drop and drop. You know me. I study the debt market before I even look at the stock market. I've been telling people this for 1,000 freaking years. So With regard to the stock market, I know everyone's freaking out about it a little bit. This isn't the big one, in my opinion, because we're not seeing that meltdown in the debt market, which is going to be the precipitating event for a stock market literally crash or meltdown. Now, the economy is crashing around the world, and the United States obviously part of that. And I think what's happening here in the United States is worse in many places, right, than compared to other places in the world right now. But the U.S. dollar now is sending us all a very bad signal, and we need to listen to what the dollar is saying. It's a language. You just got to learn to decipher what's happening. We shouldn't be seeing the dollar fall on a comparative basis to other currencies. We should be seeing that, knee jerk here. The dollar is generally seen as what? Safe haven, safe haven. It's not happening. No one wants our dollars, not even us, not even people who follow our work. They don't want the dollar. It's being destroyed, along with other central bank issue notes as well. So that's a big tell about what's happening here to the United States. Now, let's just look at this from another perspective. If in fact we were seeing, let's say, dollar strength, I think the dollar index right in the Dixie is below 104, which is a critical level. We're below it right now, which means we could see this could precipitate a much larger drop. Now, if we were seeing the opposite, if we were seeing 108, 109, 110, something around, then you would say, okay, hold on a minute. People are looking at the dollar as a safe haven. It's not. That's a big problem. Now, we also have this issue of the debt market. We've been seeing a whipsaw effect with regard to the U.S. 10-year yield. It's unstable. This instability here, what is it going to require? It's going to require the Fed in this case to get in there and buy more debt, which is their goal anyway, since the inception of central banking to own it all. So there's a couple of things that are going on here. Now, with regard to the market, look, man, I'm going to be the first guy to tell people when I believe that it's the big one. And I keep getting that question. Even this morning, Greg, is this it? No, I don't see this as the big one. Doesn't mean that we can't see a significant sell-off in the stock market, okay? We haven't had a real correction, and I can't even remember. It feels like 1,000 years. We haven't had a normal correction. Markets correct. This looks like, to me, it could precipitate into something worse. But as I'm looking at this right now, it looks like a corrective phase, which we need. Okay, but I'm not saying people should be jumping in here and buying the dip either. I've been doing a daily breakdown of the technical dynamics in play with regard to the S&P 500 every day now for the past at least a week. And I urge people to look at that. My website, traderschoice.net, top of the second page. I also did a breakdown on the dollar. I did a breakdown on silver. I'm going to be doing this stuff to keep people more in the loop. But that's what's happening here now with regard to, again, dollar, huge tell as of right now. Debt market instability is clearly unstable right now. And then the stock market here, I don't see this right now as the quote unquote big one. The big one's going to begin and end in the debt market. And we're not seeing that yet. All right. And you and I, we're going to keep our people on top of that.
When you say you see instability in the debt market, but not the kind of instability that would signal the big one, what is it different from what you're seeing now to what you expect to see someday?
Okay. I believe we're going to see a significant, or should I say a profound sell-off in the debt market, meaning we should see the 10-year yield spike like 20, 30, 40 basis points in a day, and then followed by another big sell-off, another big spike like that, big sell-off, big moves in higher with regard to the 10-year yield. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, in my opinion. So right now, we've been seeing the 10-year yield whipsaw. And, look, I think central banks are going to get in here and buy more debt until they have it all, until they really have their full, I think, for the most part, they already have a stranglehold on everything, but they want to finish it. And the finishing here is going to be a grand finale on a scale people aren't going to believe, because really what it's going to boil down to, everyone's concerned about the stock market. That's where they want you to look. If CNBC, Bloomberg, Fox News, the stock market. It's not even the whole stock market. They want you to look at the Dow, which is only 30 companies. It's an incredible thing. It's a psyop on a massive scale. The debt market's driving everything right now. We all know that. Anybody who follows our work has been well versed in how this system, this freak show operates here. So I mean that's my take on it with regard to the debt market and the instability here. I believe that central banks are going to look for every avenue possible to buy more, to issue more debt through one door, and then buy it back through another door. I mean, we just found out that the trade imbalances are out of control here. Records, what people are not prepared to see here in the United States. I mean, the people that follow our work are well prepared to see this, but debts and deficits are going to hyperballoon from here, and there's no stopping it. And the bigger picture is there's not a single roadblock right now being put in front of the tsunami of inflation that's going to hit us. It's already starting. It's just starting. So and people don't understand where this is going. Again, we need real action here on a massive scale. We don't need to take over the Panama Canal. President Trump is looking for military options right now, which include partnering with their military here and even seizing the Panama Canal by force. I don't think that's going to work out too well. And then annexing Greenland here because we need their resources, of course. This isn't going to help anything right now. I think the world right now is in the worst spot it can possibly be. But again, no surprise to anyone that follows our work. You and I have been explaining that we need to be prepared for a worst case scenario way before the Trump selection here. It's been coming apart piece by piece, deliberately. Nothing is by accident. No comedy of errors got us here. Every single piece of information that we have right now, where we see things going, it's all been thought out, and now we're living in it, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
If you could show those headlines that you were talking about the U.S., people call the political empire.
Well, these are both breaking. This is here. I'll read this to you. So President Trump is looking for military options to deal with the Panama Canal issue. All options on the table, including partnering more closely with the Panamanian military to U.S. troops, possibly seizing the canal by force. That's number one. And then the other one, these just came out. President Trump stated that he believes that the annexation of Greenland will happen. And he's saying the United States needs Greenland for international security. I mean, this is pretty incredible, what we're witnessing here. Okay, we'll see where that goes. And it's, of course, more propaganda, more lies, more distortions of the truth with regard to the data, the inflation data, the producer prices today. It's just, look, man, it's more of the same, in fact, worse, in my opinion. And it's too bad, really. People are being distracted and deceived, as they always are. Look over there, everyone. Keep looking over here. Don't look over there. And that situation is, unfortunately, it's going to lead to a lot of people to suffering on a biblical scale. I've been telling people this for a long time. That's where we're going.
Can you talk to us about your view? Because you mentioned this in your earlier words here today about the contracting physical economy. Despite all of the smoke and mirrors that central banks can pull by buying up their own debt, buying up equities, etc., what do we know about the physical economy in the U.S. and globally?
The entire global economy, and this is not new. This has been going on for quite a while now. We've even spoken about it, I'm sure, in previous episodes, is contracting rapidly. At the same time, I mean, the paradox is an incredible thing. At the same time, we got global debt ballooning at its fastest pace. What's the common denominator? We got to look for commonalities. The common denominator here is so glaringly in our face here. It's central banks running the entire show, running us into the ground, preparing to push us into a new system. President Trump's going to be signing an executive order allowing cryptocurrencies, companies like BlackRock, access to the Federal Reserve's payment system. This is a godsend, or sent from the devil, however you want to look at it, for the Federal Reserve. This is a massive win. This is exactly what the Fed wants as a bridge into the new system. Everyone knows it's coming. But again, there's no pushback. There's a lot of people that are not into it. They don't want to see that. We don't need to be adding Bitcoin or any of these other cryptocurrencies to our strategic reserves. It's an interesting thing. We've been hearing for weeks now how there's possibly no gold at Fort Knox, right? President Trump keeps talking about it, and his sidekick over there, Elon Musk, I call him the little man. I don't care how rich he is. It doesn't matter to me, but the little man over there, where's the rush to get over to see if it's gone? You notice there's no real rush over there. We keep hearing about it. They're both talking about it, but no one's going over to check it out. I think there's a grand theft going on right now. If there's no gold there, it's because Trump and Musk are finding a way to get it out and push it to whoever they want to right now. And they're just buying time if there's no gold. But again, look at what we're doing. Instead of adding gold, instead of adding silver to our strategic reserves, regardless of what may or may not be in Fort Knox or presently being stolen out of there right under our noses, as President Trump is telling us to look here and don't look over there, of course. We're not doing that. We're not adding to our strategic reserves of gold and silver. This should tell everyone what's happening. And it's too easy to understand what's going on, in my opinion. But again, we have a situation that you and I, again, have been talking about for I don't know how long, bro. We've been warning, we've been telling, you and I, and there's other people like us who've been really saying, hey, man, you know what? Start paying attention, people, because things are not what they appear to be.
We've interviewed Dr. Judy Shelton, a former member of the first Trump cabinet, talking about her proposal, had she been selected as one of the Fed governors this time, and she wasn't yet, to create a 50-year Treasury bond payable where you'd have the option of being paid out in gold at the end of the bond to increase confidence and perhaps instill some discipline in the government. But notably, she wasn't selected, and it seems that the powers that be have always benefited more from not having that kind of fiscal restraint that would get true confidence in the currency by tying it to gold, because it ties their hands in other ways. Any comments from you on that concept of why it is that when Bessent said we're going to remonetize the asset side of the U.S. balance sheet, and recently he seemed to be backpedaling when people said, "Oh, did you mean gold? Remonetizing our gold assets?" No, that's not what I was talking about. Any thoughts from you on, in a country like ours, and maybe like all the countries of the world, we're relying on fiat currencies at this point, why it maybe doesn't instill confidence in their currency if they say that they're going to use gold to be the backing of the country?
First of all, Bessent is a tool. He is the definition of a tool, in my opinion. Everything that's come out of that man's mouth, including what came out of his mouth today, is a lie. Again, the U.S. Treasury Secretary is nothing but a peddler of U.S. debt, trying to get foreigners to buy debt. We're done here. And with regard to, the whole thing behind the Mar-a-Lago Accord. The Mar-a-Lago Accord is nothing but a debt restructuring scheme. What they're going to do here is, you can't make this up if you try to. Okay, so they're going to be either forcing or offering foreign investors of debt the opportunity to swap out the debt that they currently have for 100-year non-coupon. In other words, they pay no interest debt. 100-year non-coupon debt. What's the perks? There are two perks to this. Why a foreign nation, would have to be a foreign nation, obviously, would be interested in something like this. Perk number one, they get to buy the 100-year bond below face value, which means eventually the debt will become due, of course, and will be payable in 100 years. The bigger perk behind the Mar-a-Lago Accord is going to make the Fed way stronger than it is right now. So any nation that's going to buy these 100-year non-coupon bonds will have the privilege to borrow against the bond and the Federal Reserve will fund it for I think it may even be zero or very close to zero. So this is sending the world two messages. Number one, we can't pay our debt back. We cannot pay our interest on our debt. It's a desperate move here. Number two, it's allowing, in this case, the Fed to vastly inflate on the back of this, and this is their sole power. If I've been telling people on your show and everywhere else, if we can find a way, if we had a real leader, which we do not, all right, and Kamala would have been just as bad, or any other creature that wanted to put behind the Resolute desk, that we could find some way to stop the Fed from inflating, we win. Until that point, we will continue to lose and lose big. So I believe the Mar-a-Lago Accord is probably going to happen. And it's a massive win, of course, for the Federal Reserve, along with this other win that they're going to be handed by President Trump signing this executive order to allow companies like BlackRock, who have become the crypto whales, who have access to the Federal Reserve's national payment system. I mean, Brian Moynihan, I just wanted to point out this one guy. I've been talking about him a lot lately, the CEO of Bank of America, said he's all for it. All we need to do is flip that switch. It's too simple to see. We're being led to the slaughter, bro. No more. We're leading ourselves. But you and me, at least, we're doing our part to enlighten people as to what's going on.
Put all of this, if you would, in the context of your mantra that you've used for a decade at least, which is to bet against the debt, become your own central bank, and own real things. How does that change the picture for ordinary people who take those steps?
Dude, it's the most important thing people need to do from a financial standpoint, okay? You got to understand that you got to be on the opposite side of this trade. Look, what we're witnessing here is the largest wealth transfer scheme the world has ever seen. It's been going on for quite a long time. The shoveling of wealth right up to the 1% and 2% via this mechanism of easy money, artificially suppressed rates, currency devaluation, which is a wrecking machine for the world economy. You can't have your cake and eat it too. The mechanism here is wiping out the middle class around the entire world, and people are sitting back and doing nothing. And it's kind of interesting. I brought up yesterday the whiskey rebellion, the whiskey tax rebellion of 1791 lasted 3 years. People went up in revolt from 1791 to 1793 or 4, so along those lines, because they were getting taxed on whiskey. That's what people did back then. You see, back then, the government was afraid of the people, which means the people were free. Today, people are afraid of the government, which means we're slaves. This is tyranny, or the definition of. That's what's happening here right now. But people need to continue to bet against the system. And I think the ultimate way to do that is, I've never wavered from this, is to hold gold. Silver especially remains my most favorite asset of all time. You need to be doing that. And it's much bigger than that. People, we need to all come together, man. We're being systematically erased. And if people don't start pushing back, again, like I said, a rebellion over whiskey tax, a violent rebellion over tax on whiskey, 1791. Today, people get smacked across the face, backhand, forward hand, kicked in the teeth, and what do? They go sit in a corner and cry about it. They don't take any action. And that's the reason why we're here now. That's kind of it.
Well, Greg, you've often been reminding us that we need to not be distracted by where we're being told to look, but instead look at what we're not being told. And that's why you say we need to watch the debt market, not so much just be fixated on the stock market. We need to take care of business by owning real things rather than living off of debt, living off of credit, and having everything denominated in dollars in a failing currency and being beholden to the system. Any final thoughts from you on, for example, you've relocated and you've also told us in the past about establishing connections in your local community, making acquaintances, that kind of thing, being a friend to those that we meet. How do we reinforce those other intangible aspects of being connected with each other rather than being slaves to the system and being divided from each other?
Number one, reconnect with the source, God Almighty. That's number one. Number two, start reconnecting with people in your own neighborhood, like-minded people, quite obviously. Make friends with people. People today, they don't go out. They barely interact with each other anymore. They become socially isolated. And this is what they want. They can't have people coming together, because then we become powerful. They can't allow that to happen. They have to keep people separated, divided, at each other's throats. It's the oldest trick in the book, man. Divide and conquer, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. And we are, make no mistake, everyone who's listening to this right now, a conquered society, here in the United States especially. And that is their goal, is, again, to not allow people to unify, to not allow people to come together to elicit change. And by psyoping people into either one camp or the other, they win. And they've completely won every goal so far that they've been working towards here to achieve, to push us in the direction that they want. We're nothing. We are a means to an end. And as I've been warning about, and you too, both of us have been saying this, they're wiping us out. This is we're going back to some type of a neo-feudalism, overlords here. It's an erasure of the middle class, and with pressure on the middle class. And I've been explaining to people for a very long time, it's gonna get a lot worse. So they need, again, it's about dependency on the current system. That's why I believe we're not done with seeing central banks buy it all. They're not done creating more dependency on the system. And when they feel that they reach that goal, they have enough people dependent on the current system. Right now, all the groundwork is being laid out, pushing us into the new system. President Trump's executive order just yesterday, a lot of what he's been doing here, again, setting the Federal Reserve up to succeed. A lot of people still have all of the delusion that the Federal Reserve is going to be going away. The Federal Reserve is going to be monumentally stronger. Who's going to support all the stuff that's going on here? The annexation of Greenland, for example, a possible military action here in Panama. Is it Where are we getting the funds from this? We don't have it. We're completely broke. So I'm going to give everyone one guess as to where this is coming from. Who's going to be more than happy to lend whatever we need to annex Greenland or to, take over the Panama Canal? I mean, people, wake up, man. There are a bunch of people that really are so blinded and so conquered mentally, they can't function at all. And it's a shame. And it's usually the minority. I think this is the minority of people, but it's a minority that drags down the majority. We need to take it back. And unfortunately, it's not going to happen. We've reached the point of no return. So people need to prepare for impact. In other words, they got to prepare for what you and I have been saying for the longest time, for a worst case scenario, because that's where we're going.
Greg, if people want to follow your work, I know every time I ask this, you tend to just say I'm everywhere, but if people want to find you so that they can follow you, because you do write prolifically on this and you post video updates twice a day, where should they go?
Well, hopefully on YouTube this morning. I don't know if you had any problems or we're going to have a problem with this. I couldn't upload. I found a workaround. If you have a problem posting on YouTube, you know how every single video that we do is like screened by AI? I found a way around it, bro. And I'll share that with you if you need it. And with regard to the live stream, I don't know how it's going to work. I'm going to try to do my live stream later. But yeah, YouTube, please utilize the resources I have available for everyone on my website, traderschoice.net, especially the second page. But I'm a pretty easy guy to find, like I always say, man. Just Google me and you'll find me somewhere.
Well, I'll give you another hint. Everybody, remember, only half of our viewers are subscribers, and we got this lovely plaque almost a year ago from YouTube when we passed the 100,000 subscriber mark. But we have twice that many viewers as we do subscribers. So if you're not yet a subscriber to our channel, just click the subscribe button right there on YouTube. And if you really want to get every single interview with Gregory Mannarino and all of our other guests, make sure you're on our free mailing list. Just go to libertyandfinance.com. That's our website, libertyandfinance.com. Put in your name. You don't even have to put your name. Just put your email address and click submit. You'll get a confirming email. Once you confirm, you'll get one email in your inbox per day. We don't share your email address with anyone. It's completely private. It's completely free. And you'll get every interview with Greg and all of our other guests and any weekly specials. And it's all free at libertyandfinance.com. Greg, on behalf of all of our viewers and subscribers, we thank you again for being with us here again on Liberty and Finance.
Thanks for having me, man. Love being here.
This is Kaiser Johnson with Liberty and Finance, and these are the Miles Franklin Weekly Specials for March 10th through March 17th, 2025, while supplies last. First this week, we feature backdated 1-ounce gold Krugerrand at just $59 over spot. Next, Valcambi silver kilo bars are just $2.20 over spot per ounce. Pre-65 mixed junk silver is just $1.99 over spot, and pre-65 half dollars are just $2.25 over spot. To order our specials or any of the many other options we have available, call us at 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237. We're available after hours and on weekends, and we look forward to speaking with you.